Summer, 2004. That night I caught a coming-of-age movie about a kid who joins the high school football team in the hopes of impressing a girl. But the long line doesn't do the movie justice. The story was simple and perfect. More importantly, the entire movie was carried by this one actor whose name I did not know. I spent the whole week thinking about the movie, its simplicity, the haunting melodic score, the young actor in the leading role. I later found out that the movie is called Lucas. The actor, Corey Haim. He couldn't have been more than 14 years old. When the following week came, I was excited to see what movie they'd played next. The following movie was about two brothers who moved to Santa Carla, the vampire capital of the world. This movie was called The Lost Boys. This actor appeared again, Corey Haim. Only this time he had a cooler haircut, a sleek jawline, and was decked out in some crazy 80s fashion. I made it my mission to search for copies of these movies, but it was a different time in media distribution. There wasn't much of a demand for a re-release of Lucas anytime soon. My hunt for these movies coincided with the growth of IMDb. IMDb became my source for all things Corey Haim, which eventually became my source for all things Corey Haim and Corey Feldman. The two Coreys reached the height of fame somewhere between 1986 and dwindled in '89. Haim and Feldman co-starred in a couple of movies together. The Lost Boys launched their collaborative trifecta. The movie was followed by License to Drive, Dream a Little Dream, which saw Feldman as the protagonist and Haim in the goofy supporting friend role. It was a strange and dark coming-of-age movie. The movie was a victim of its own marketing and flopped. The Coreys continued to work together in a string of forgettable stuff, some more embarrassing than others. Once I was fully educated on the two Coreys, it was time to revert my focus once again on Haim, not as half of the iconic 80s duo, but as the Canadian actor who showed potential and reached fame too quickly. By his early 20s, Haim was turning out straight-to-video films and unglorified cameos. He struggled with his finances and industry relationships. By the time I had heard of Corey Haim, he had just finished a small cameo in Dickie Roberts' former child star, a comedy that explored some of the difficulties washed-up child stars encountered and coped with to stay relevant or make an income. I was intrigued. It was no surprise that both Haim and Feldman made appearances. Dickie Roberts was a glorified hit amongst my 9-year-old friends and I. However, no one else seemed interested in what happened to some of these child stars. As life went on, I tried to bury the Corey Haim obsession, diverting to more modern cinema in the hopes of relating to my peers. Every so often, a reminder of Corey Haim would sneak its way into my life. In 2007, TLC aired a semi-scripted reality show based on the two Coreys. The short-lived series portrayed Feldman as the Corey who got his act together, and Haim as someone who never really grew up and was actively trying to break back into the industry that exploited him and hung him out to dry. I didn't know what to make of this grown man. This wasn't the Corey Haim I knew. It couldn't be. I was aware of his relationship to drugs and his addictive personality, but this was different. But despite this strange behavior, Corey symbolized the earliest movies that have made an impact on myself and eventually led me through a life devoted to stories. March 10th, 2010. You wouldn't think a Canadian legend who had shook the world by their 16th birthday had passed away. For everyone else, it was a regular school day. For me, it was a big disappointment. Dead at 38, Corey is one of the souls that was deemed to stay young forever. As I got older, I managed to get my foot in the door of some Canadian film productions. Every so often, someone would have a story about working with Corey, going to school with Corey, and running into Corey. These people all understood that Corey was not the one-trick pony he was marketed as. He was sensitive and kind to those he loved. He was a great actor who had a lot of potential and never really got the opportunity to shine on his own, the way he did all those years ago in Lucas. To everyone else, he is a teen dream that burnt out fast and was stuck in a lifetime of substance abuse. To me, he was a gifted actor on Hollywood's fast track, but got burdened with demons and became a lost boy. I'll revisit my Corey Haim archives a couple of times a year. I'll read interviews, watch movies, and look at the hundreds of pictures of him scoured across the internet. Somehow, there are always new ones I've never seen, and I feel like I am discovering him for the first time again. The years of working on sets and trying to create my own stories has made me into a nihilist, trying to chase a dream that won't happen. A life dedicated to film and working in cinema? But what for? Why work so hard for something that will never come? Maybe it doesn't really matter. Nothing does. I entertain the sad reality that I tricked myself to get out of living, and then feel bad about running away from the living part. This obsession of mine has caused me to bury myself in a hole I cannot get out of. But if I see these experiences as failures, why am I continuously drawn to it all? I spiral, I rage, I act out my erratic behaviors, I curse my life and bawl my tangents. I storm through weeks and months and years waiting for something, waiting for a green light, waiting for something to wait for. But then I think of all the stories that led me here. And then I think of Corey, and I think of cinema, and how I've been using stories to hide from all the burdens, those dark days when they come, the betrayal, the cowards that lie, the constant bullshit disguised as lies, beautiful lies, moments with aggressors, moments with abusers, putting up with tyrants and all the hurt we drag from one year to the next. And I think of something that matters in a life where nothing really matters. So I continue to embark on one failure to the next and rebuild myself with the help of these silly movies. We can only make cinema out of life if there's an audience watching. Without an audience, you're just a forgotten expressionist painting. But at least you can choose to keep trying, because in the end, we all fail anyway. So I keep finding reasons. That's something I learned from Corey.